Addressing these internal issues is crucial for restoring public trust and ensuring effective governance. Hello. Welcome to episode 64 of This Week's Economy. I'm your host, Dr. Vance Ginn, president of Ginn Economic Consulting, a fellow at more than 10 free market think tanks, and former chief economist of the White House's Office of Management and Budget. Today, we're diving into key national and state economic issues, including the challenges in the housing market, the national debt crisis, which really is a spending crisis, and the latest jobs report. Let's jump right into it. So Louisiana's big move is that it passes universal school choice, making it more than 10 states now with this sort of policy of education savings accounts. This is really the gold standards that all states should really move to. And finally, or ultimately, should be moving to this form into school finance formulas as well through education savings accounts rather than the complicated versions that we have today, where you could actually spend less, I should say, and get better outcomes in the process. In other news and housing affordability, in a Redfin survey, 91% of Gen Zers, which are ages 18 to 27 years old, consider housing affordability a crucial factor in choosing the next president. This highlights the growing concern among the young voters about housing markets accessibility, where only 26% of Gen Zers own homes, as housing prices have surged over 40% since before the pandemic. This makes it challenging for the first-time buyers to secure a home without equity from previous sales. Excessive government intervention contributing to higher housing prices, higher interest rates, and higher general inflation make the housing market less affordable. More government intervention isn't a solution. Rather, reducing these burdens and barriers is essential to increasing supply and affordability. In other news, we have the jobs report, which is coming out on Friday. I'm recording this on Wednesday, but what we've seen in recent reports is that it shows less than stellar headline figures, with significant increases in part-time work and declines in full-time positions. This indicates a shift in job quality and stability. Inflation-adjusted purchasing power is falling, meaning workers' earnings are not keeping up with rising costs, undermining overall economic well-being. The household survey reveals flat to declining job creation in recent months, and labor force participation remains subdued, reflecting deeper labor market weaknesses. Years of flawed Keynesian big government policies have contributed to these issues. We need to return to pro-growth policies that remove barriers to work and address bloated deficits, thereby reducing interest rates and inflation that's created by the Federal Reserve. In other news, we have reforms that are needed to the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. The FDIC's extensive and convoluted regulations hinder bank operations, reduce efficiency, and increase consumer costs. Streamlining these regulations can foster a more competitive and dynamic financial sector. FDIC Chair Martin Gruenberg faces allegations of workplace misconduct and a toxic culture, and recently said he is going to resign soon when they have a replacement. Addressing these internal issues is crucial for restoring public trust and ensuring effective governance. Rising compliance costs burden small and mid-sized banks, driving industry consolidation and limiting competition. Reducing these burdens can spur significant economic growth and benefit consumers. Congress should reform the toxic culture within the FDIC and the broader regulatory framework of the Biden administration, increasing transparency and reducing political influence and providing regulatory relief for smaller banks will enhance competition and improve service delivery. America should focus on spending less, not tax hikes. Despite what folks like Orrin Cass and other old progressives want to do, which they call themselves the new, quote-unquote, new right, and claim about recent economic policy, more government is not the answer. Overwhelming research and evidence prove that raising taxes and less economic growth will not solve our budget woes. The path to sustainable economic growth and fiscal health lies in reducing government spending and implementing pro-growth policies of deregulation and tax reforms that foster innovation, entrepreneurship, and efficient resource allocation. Media hits for this past week include the housing market, where I talked about on KTRH News in Houston, highlighting the need to reduce regulatory burdens to make housing more affordable. I was also on Fox Business talking with Maria Bartiromo on Mornings with the Maria show to discuss the latest U.S. jobs report and what it means for the economy. The national debt issue I talked about on Freedom Works with the Paul Malloy show, where I talked about excessive spending crisis and what it means to you. Don't miss that in the show notes page. The Let People Prosper show, the most recent episode was episode 99 with Dr. Judge Gluck. which we cover the housing market and local debt crises. You don't want to miss that episode. The upcoming Let People Prosper show on Monday will be episode 100. I can't believe it. 100 already, with Dr. Norm Horn of the Libertarian Christian Institute, as we dive into many topics, including free markets, capitalism, trade, environment, religion, politics, and much more. Don't miss this episode. Here's a quote of the week by Milton Friedman about the importance of spending less. Quote, I'm in favor of cutting taxes under any circumstances and for any excuse, for any reason, whenever it's possible, because I believe the big problem is not taxes. The big problem is spending. Amen. I totally agree with that as well. The Bible verse of the week is, dear friend, do not imitate what is evil, but what is good. Anyone who does what is good is from God. Anyone who does not and does evil has not seen God. 3 John 1:11. Don't miss that one as well. A couple of key things, though, that I wrote a little bit longer that I wanted to go through are based on what I hope you can understand and will take and something for us to really have more discussions about overall. So here it is. Free market capitalism has often been a topic of debate, with many questioning its morality and benefits, but let's dive into the facts. Individual freedom and choice. Well, in a free market, individuals are free to choose what to buy, sell, produce, and consume. This freedom allows for a wide range of options, fostering innovation and competition. What about an efficient allocation of resources? Well, the price mechanism in a free market ensures that resources are allocated efficiently. High prices signal scarcity and encourage increased production, while low prices signal surplus and encourage reduced production or more spending, right? Incentives for innovation and efficiency. Well, the profit motive in a free market provides a strong incentive for innovation and efficiency. Firms strive to produce goods and services at the lowest cost and highest quality to maximize their profits, not greedflation and other nonsense. Number 4, economic freedom. Free markets have historically been associated with high rates of economic growth. As firms compete to offer the best products and services, they drive economic growth and prosperity. Number 5, property rights and the rule of law. Free markets depend on a strong private property rights and the rule of law. This provides a stable environment for investment and business and encourages long-term planning and investment. Number 6, job creation and wealth creation. Free markets create jobs and wealth. As businesses grow and expand, they employ more people and create more wealth in the process. Number 7, social mobility. Free market offers opportunities for social mobility. People can start a business and work their way up the economic ladder. Number 8, consumer sovereignty. In a free market, consumers are sovereign. They decide what gets produced and how it's produced by choosing what to buy. This leads to a wide variety of goods and services to meet the diverse needs and preferences of consumers. Number 9, voluntary exchange and cooperation. Free markets are based on voluntary exchange and cooperation. People trade with each other because they both benefit from the trade, or they won't trade. Okay? So those are the key things about capitalism and free market capitalism that I hope we can get across. It's not crony capitalism or anything else. That is crony corporatism or even socialism. It's not capitalism. We need to get more capitalism overall. So the next big thing I want to talk to you about, though, is government spending is costs you, okay? Did you know that excessive federal government spending could be costing you more than you think? Here's how it impacts us all. Number 1, higher taxes. To cover the cost of excessive spending, governments force payment of higher taxes, leaving less money in your pocket. Number 2, increased national debt. The more the government spends, the higher national debt grows. This can lead to a decrease in our country's credit rating, making borrowing more expensive and likely leading to higher interest rates on loans and credit cards. Number 3, inflation. When the government spends more than it collects in revenue, it can lead to inflation when the Fed prints too much money, eroding your hard-earned purchasing power, as we've seen for years now. Number 4, crowding out private investment. Excessive government spending leads to higher interest rates, which makes it more difficult for businesses to borrow money for expansion and innovation. This slows economic growth and reduces job opportunities. Number 5, misallocation of resources. Government spending can lead to inefficiencies and waste. It does do that, right? As funds are not always allocated to the most effective or necessary programs, or what the private market would have happen. And number 6, financial repression. When the government borrows excessively, it may need to keep interest rates artificially low to continue borrowing at affordable rates. This can hurt savers and retirees who rely on interest income for their savings, and it could also have interest rates soar whenever the demand isn't there for that debt. So remember, the government needs to spend taxpayer money wisely and efficiently on only limited government constitutional roles in our constitutional republic. Let's monitor government spending and hold our elected officials accountable for their decisions. This should include a spending limit, block grants to states, and spending cuts at least back to the 2019 levels. So in conclusion, Thanks for tuning in to episode 64 of This Week's Economy. We covered a lot of ground today, from national issues like inflation and the housing market to state-specific developments in Louisiana. Remember to like, subscribe, and share this episode wherever you get this podcast. For more insights, visit vanceginn.substack.com or vanceginn.com. And until next time, let's keep working towards a more prosperous future and let people prosper.